What if the events we're witnessing today were predicted thousands of years ago? Could the Bible have foreseen the trouble unfolding in our world right now? In these final months of 2024, the world is gripped by fear and uncertainty. Just recently, a shocking assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump shook the very foundations of global politics. This wasn't just another headline. It was a stark reminder of how fragile our world has become. But the turbulence doesn't end there. The threat of a third world war is now more real than ever. Major powers are clashing, and the possibility of a conflict that could engulf the entire planet is looming ominously. With tensions rising and diplomatic efforts failing, the world stands on the precipice of disaster. As if political and military tensions weren't enough, the global economy is in a state of crisis. Markets are in freefall. Inflation is skyrocketing, and the specter of a global economic collapse is becoming harder to ignore. People everywhere are struggling, uncertain of what tomorrow will bring. But what if these aren't just random, disconnected events? What if they are pieces of a much larger puzzle? One that was laid out in the Bible's end-time prophecies. Revelation 6 speaks of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, symbols of conquest, war, famine, and death. Could it be that we are witnessing the arrival of these horsemen? The assassination attempt could be seen as a manifestation of the white horse, symbolizing conquest and the rise of powerful yet deceitful leaders. The looming threat of a world war aligns with the red horse, which represents global conflict and bloodshed. The economic instability we're facing could very well be the black horse, bringing famine and financial ruin, and the pale horse, symbolizing death, may soon follow as a result of these cascading crises. These ancient prophecies seem to be coming to life before our eyes. The Bible's warnings are not just historical curiosities. They are a clear and present reflection of what we're experiencing today. As we continue, we'll explore how these prophetic visions are playing out in our world and what this means for all of us. Stay with us as we reveal the connections between the Bible's words and the events shaping our future. Revelation 6 is one of the most powerful and unsettling chapters in the Bible. It describes a vision given to the Apostle John, where he witnesses the opening of the seven seals. These seals are not just symbolic. They represent events that will unfold as the world approaches its final days. Each of the first four seals releases a horseman, known collectively as the four horsemen of the apocalypse. These horsemen are not literal riders, but powerful symbols of the devastating events that will mark the end times. The first horse is white, and its rider carries a bow. He is given a crown and rides out to conquer. The white horse symbolizes conquest, but not in a straightforward sense of war. Instead, it represents the rise of leaders or movements that achieve power through deception and manipulation. This horseman is often associated with false prophets, corrupt rulers, and ideologies that mislead nations, drawing them away from truth and into conflict. The second horse is red, a color that vividly represents blood and violence. Its rider is given a great sword and the power to take peace from the earth, resulting in people killing each other. The red horse is a clear symbol of war and conflict. This horseman brings widespread violence, not just between nations, but also within them, leading to civil wars, uprisings, and an overall state of chaos. The world descends into brutal conflicts that destabilize societies and shatter lives. The third horse is black, and its rider holds a pair of scales in his hand. A voice declares the cost of basic food supplies, signaling extreme scarcity. The black horse represents famine and economic hardship. This horseman brings a time where food and resources become so scarce that they are weighed and rationed. The scales symbolize the desperate struggle to survive as people face hunger and deprivation. The disparity between the rich and poor becomes stark, with the poor suffering the most. The fourth and final horse is pale, with a rider named Death, followed closely by Hades. This horseman represents the culmination of the devastation brought by the other three. The pale horse brings death on a massive scale, through war, famine, plagues, and natural disasters. This is not just physical death, but a complete breakdown of society, where life becomes fraught with danger and the hope of survival diminishes. The four horsemen are harbingers of global calamities that signal the approach of the end times. They represent the breakdown of the world as we know it. Political deception, unending wars, economic collapse, and widespread death. These symbols warn us of the consequences of turning away from righteousness and embracing corruption, violence, and greed. As we look at the world today, the events described in Revelation 6 seem to be more than just a distant prophecy. They appear to be a reflection of our current reality. The signs are all around us, urging us to recognize the gravity of our times and to understand that what is unfolding may be the very events foretold in the Bible. The white horse, the first of the four horsemen, represents conquest and deception. Its rider, bearing a bow and a crown, symbolizes the rise of powerful leaders who achieve dominance not through direct conflict, but through manipulation and deceit. The white horse's appearance signals a time when leaders and ideologies spread their influence through cunning strategies and persuasive tactics. In today's political climate, we see this symbolism come to life. Global leaders and political movements are often characterized by their ability to sway public opinion and gain power through sophisticated rhetoric and strategic maneuvering. The rise of populist leaders and the spread of controversial ideologies can be seen as modern examples of the white horse's influence. These leaders often present themselves as champions of change, while their true agendas may involve deeper forms of manipulation and control. The recent assassination attempt on Donald Trump adds another layer to this prophetic imagery. Such an act of violence against a prominent political figure can be interpreted as part of a larger scheme to disrupt political stability and create confusion. This incident reflects the broader theme of the white horse, where deceit and power struggles are used to undermine established systems and manipulate public perception. The white horse signifies a time when conquest is achieved through deception rather than direct confrontation. As we witness the current political upheavals and the rise of influential yet controversial figures, the connection to this prophecy becomes increasingly evident. The events unfolding around us could very well be part of a larger, deceptive agenda that aligns with the vision of the white horse in Revelation 6. The red horse in Revelation 6 is a powerful symbol of war and conflict. Its rider, armed with a great sword, is given the power to remove peace from the earth, causing people to turn against each other in violent and bloody conflicts. This horseman doesn't just represent any war. It symbolizes widespread and devastating violence that engulfs nations and even the entire world. Today, we see the ominous signs of this prophecy unfolding. Global tensions are at an all-time high, with conflicts brewing between major world powers. The threat of a third world war is no longer a distant possibility. It's a looming reality. In Eastern Europe, the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine has escalated into a broader confrontation, drawing in NATO and other global players. This conflict has the potential to spark a much larger war, one that could easily spread beyond regional borders. In Asia, the rivalry between China and the United States over Taiwan is intensifying, with military posturing on both sides. The South China Sea has become a flashpoint for potential conflict, with each nation vying for control over critical trade routes and resources. The possibility of a military clash between these superpowers is a chilling prospect. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a pattern of escalating violence and unrest around the world. From the Middle East, where tensions remain high between Israel and its neighbors, to the rising civil unrest in various nations, the world is increasingly unstable. The red horse is galloping across the globe, bringing with it the very war and conflict that Revelation warned us about. The prophecy is clear. As war spreads, peace will be shattered, and the consequences will be devastating. The red horse serves as a reminder of the fragility of our world and the reality of the dangers we face in these tumultuous times. The black horse, the third of the four horsemen, is a powerful symbol of economic crisis and famine. Its rider holds a pair of scales, representing the severe scarcity of resources and the desperate struggle for survival. Currently, we are witnessing signs of this prophecy coming to fruition. The global economy is facing unprecedented instability. Inflation rates are soaring, making everyday goods and services increasingly unaffordable. Many are feeling the pinch as the cost of living climbs and food prices rise sharply. The scarcity of resources and the disparity between the wealthy and the poor are becoming more pronounced, mirroring the dire warnings of the black horse. Economic crises are not just about numbers and financial markets. They directly impact people's lives. Food shortages and rising costs are forcing families to make difficult choices, reflecting the famine symbolized by the black horse. As we face these challenges, the prophecy of widespread economic turmoil seems to be aligning with our current realities, signaling a time of severe hardship and struggle. The pale horse, the fourth and final horseman, embodies death and widespread destruction. Its rider, named Death, is followed by Hades, representing the grave consequences of global calamities. This horseman signifies a period where death becomes pervasive, not just through natural causes, but as a result of a series of devastating events. Recent global events illustrate the grim reality of the Pale Horse's prophecy. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused significant loss of life and continues to impact millions around the world. Natural disasters, such as hurricanes, earthquakes, and wildfires, have devastated communities and claimed countless lives. Additionally, widespread violence and conflicts are contributing to a growing death toll. The Pale Horse's symbolism reflects the harsh consequences of ongoing crises, where the impact on human life is severe and far-reaching. The combination of pandemics, natural disasters, and conflict illustrates how the prophecy of the Pale Horse is being realized in our world today. These events underscore the end-time prophecy's warning of widespread death and destruction, highlighting the urgent need for reflection and preparedness in these troubled times. In today's video, we've explored the profound connections between the events unfolding in our world and the ancient prophecy of Revelation 6. We began by examining the red horse, symbolizing the rise of conflict and violence, from the political unrest surrounding the assassination attempt on Donald Trump to escalating global tensions. The signs of widespread war and chaos are evident. Next, we delved into the white horse, representing conquest and deception. The current political climate, with its influential yet often deceptive leaders and movements, echoes the warnings of this prophecy. The manipulation and control seen in today's power struggles align closely with the white horse's symbolism. We also considered the black horse, which forewarns of economic crisis and famine. The current global economic instability, marked by soaring inflation and resource scarcity, reflects the grim reality depicted by this horseman. Finally, we addressed the pale horse, embodying death and widespread destruction. The impact of pandemics, natural disasters, and violence on human life underscores the severity of this prophecy. The loss and suffering experienced globally mirror the dark reality foretold by the pale horse. As we reflect on these connections, it's crucial for believers to remain vigilant and prepared. The fulfillment of these prophecies serves as a reminder of the times we are living in and the need for spiritual readiness. By understanding these signs, we can approach these challenging times with faith and discernment, staying true to our beliefs amidst the unfolding events. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more insights and discussions on how ancient prophecies continue to shape our world today.